Um, so you one time, I forgot about it, but we watched Alf as
Yes,
kids.
what a great television show. And that also became Al Perez's nickname from
Yeah,
Dad because Al was doing there. He goes, yeah, Gary used to always call me Alf.
yeah. So I guess if you don't know what Alf is, Google it. But
Gordon Shumway's from the planet Melmac.
it was a
His
TV
spaceship crashed into, I think, 167 Himdale was their address, the Tanner family.
it was a TV show back in the mid to late '80s, and we watched it as kids. And so we were talking, or Jay was talking to Al Perez one day about it, and
Al Perez, one of probably the best technical wrestler that Dad ever managed. And in all honesty, I'm sorry, but as far as guys, I mean, I thought he's one of my favorite guys that Dad ever had. I mean, not including Uncle Mark and Uncle Donald, but people would say, "Oh, the Muda period was great." Yeah, the Muda period was great, but as a guy, Al was
that was
like a
very cool.
member of
Yeah.
the family. He still is. Love you if you're still watching this. If you started watching it,
Like and subscribe
yeah,
if you are Al.
Sure. But the show Alf, because Dad started calling him Alf. And I'd ask him, I said, Alf, I said, Al, have you ever seen the show Alf? He goes, Alf. I said, yeah, Alf. He goes, oh, little guy, big nose? I said, yeah, I've never seen it. So I said,
How old were you? Like
I
10,
was
11?
10 or 11. No,
Right.
not probably 9 or 10 at the time.
And
Because
you're still watching Alf?
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
he got here in like 87.
Okay, I
Actually,
was kidding.
Alf got here in 86. Al got here in 87
Right.
from Puerto Rico. And Al, they were off one night. I think for some reason they were off on a Monday, which was odd.
Mm.
And I said, why don't you watch the TV show Alf? He goes, we're normally working. And so Dad asked Al on the phone. He goes, Jay wants to talk to you for a second. I said, you're off tonight. Go ahead and watch Alf. He goes, okay, what channel is this on? I said, Channel 5, which was the NBC affiliate in Dallas. He goes, okay, I'll watch it. Now, Al Perez was a very, very straight up, don't step to me, wonderful guy, but Al was bad, and he could, set you straight if you want. I mean, he threatened to shoot on several wrestlers, and we won't go into that story. But as a guy who was, Cuban, Latin, machismo, I mean, a great athlete, tough guy, they're off that one night from Fort Worth TV. They didn't run the Real Rogers Coliseum. So Al watches, at my request, an episode of the television show Alf. The episode dealt with bullying and telling your kids not to fight back, which is if you grew up in the wrestling business in the 1980s or any other time, that was a no, you fight back because you're protecting the business, you're protecting yourself. Al watched the TV show that night, and then it ended with the Tanner family standing up to themselves against the bully that was bullying their child. And then the line at the end of the show was, "We stood up for ourselves, but what you saw here today was wrong because the father had thrown somebody out of the house." As soon as Al pulls up on Tuesday to pick Dad up to go to the matches, I said, "Did you watch Alf?" And Al looks at me and goes, "What you saw here today was wrong." What kind of message is that to send kids? You have to stand up for yourself. And Al got into the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I think I said, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how did you enjoy the play? Of all the nights for him to watch that TV show, it showed not to defend yourself, which is not something Al was. Al was very much about. I mean, if you looked at Al the wrong way, it'd be like,
Yeah.
Like at one time, there was another guy that, this is speaking of this, they went back to the Carolinas, and Al was working with somebody, and Al didn't want to work with the guy, and Al wanted to stretch the guy, and Dad said, "Al, please, not no. We just came here. You can't be doing something like this." And then there's certain other guys that Al might have potatoed, but
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell who these people were, but Al was that kind of guy.
You remember? I know you know what we're gonna say because we already talked about telling the story. But I had a habit. We'd go out to eat.
Yeah,
It seems like it was always at the.
because he had the same problem too as a child.
Maybe that's what he was talking about, or why he said it. But I just remember being at the Waffle House. Everybody knows like the wrestlers would go eat at the Waffle Houses all the time. But anyways, we'd sit down to eat, and I'd get, they bring you the glass of water, bring your food, and I don't know why, but I had a habit accidentally. I'd always knock my glass of water over.
Yeah, and then he said that when he was a kid, they go out to dinner, and his parents put a glass of water in front of him and just say, "Knock it over."
Yeah.
So he had done that a few times, and Al just ordered. He goes, "Can we have an extra glass of water for this one to knock over?"
Yeah.
And then then he picked up something to drink, and then he spilled it himself.
Yeah.
And then Dad looked at Mom later and said, "Al did that to make Chad feel better."
Yeah. Yeah. But I remember Al like asked the waitress. He goes, "Can we get an extra glass of water?" And then Al just puts it in front of me. He's like, "There it is. Knock it over."
I think that was also the night that one guy came in. He was like apparently drugged out. He looked like he was a member of the Grateful Dead. He was handing out peppermint candy to people. He goes, candy. He was handing out candy, and he handed a piece to you, and Al goes, "Don't eat that.
Yeah.
And then Dad looked at Al and goes, why don't we take this outside and find someone who's really full blown and say, would you like to have some candy?
Yeah.
The great Al Perez, ladies and gentlemen. Love you.